Imagine a city so powerful that its influence stretched across the seas. A civilization of immense wealth, towering temples, and unmatched ambition. According to legend, this was Atlantis, a kingdom whose disappearance would become one of the greatest mysteries in human history. At its peak, Atlantis was said to be a wonder of the ancient world. Magnificent waterways flowed through the city, connecting grand temples, bustling harbors, and thriving districts. To those who witnessed its splendor, Atlantis seemed destined to endure forever. But every legend carries a shadow. Ancient accounts tell of a sudden catastrophe that struck without warning. The ground trembled violently beneath the city as chaos spread through the streets. Within moments, the fate of Atlantis began to change forever. When the destruction ended, Atlantis was gone. The city that had once dominated the seas had vanished beneath the waves. All that remained were stories, whispers, and the enduring mystery of what may lie hidden in the depths below. For more than 2,000 years, one question has continued to captivate historians, explorers, and dreamers alike. Was Atlantis a real civilization lost to time, or merely a myth passed down through generations? The story of Atlantis begins with a man whose writings would shape its legend forever. His name was Plato, the famous Greek philosopher. Through his works, the world would hear the tale of a lost kingdom unlike any other. Around 360 BC, Plato recorded a remarkable account in two dialogues known as Timaeus and Critias. Within these ancient texts, he described a powerful island civilization whose rise and fall would echo across centuries. According to Plato, Atlantis was a vast and prosperous kingdom located beyond the known world. Its land stretched far across the horizon, and its wealth, power, and influence surpassed that of any neighboring civilization. At the center of Atlantis stood its most extraordinary achievement, a magnificent capital city built in concentric rings of land and water. Connected by bridges and canals, it was said to be one of the most impressive cities ever conceived. The rulers of Atlantis commanded a mighty fleet that sailed across distant waters. Their ships carried influence, trade, and military power throughout the ancient world. As the kingdom grew stronger, so too did its ambitions. With prosperity came confidence, and with confidence came ambition. According to Plato's account, Atlantis expanded its influence far beyond its shores. Its rulers sought greater power, and their growing empire soon became a force that neighboring kingdoms could no longer ignore. As Atlantis continued to expand, conflict became inevitable. Its armies marched across distant lands while its fleets crossed vast seas. The kingdom that had once been admired for its greatness now stood accused of seeking domination over the known world. Yet not every nation was willing to submit. Among those who resisted was ancient Athens. Though smaller and less powerful, the Athenians were determined to defend their homeland against the advancing Atlantean Empire. What followed was a struggle that would become central to the legend of Atlantis. According to Plato, powerful forces clashed in a battle that tested the strength, courage, and determination of both civilizations. The outcome would shape the fate of an entire empire. Against all expectations, Athens emerged victorious. The mighty Atlantean Empire had been stopped. But the celebration would be short-lived, because a far greater threat was already gathering beyond the horizon. Then came the catastrophe. Dark clouds gathered overhead, and the earth itself began to tremble. Whatever happened next was so devastating that it would forever alter the course of Atlantis and transform it into legend. Violent earthquakes tore through the island. Buildings collapsed. Roads cracked apart. Across the city, panic spread as citizens struggled to understand the disaster unfolding around them. Atlantis was facing a force no army could defeat. As the ground continued to shake, another danger emerged from the sea. Enormous waves rose along the horizon, growing larger with every passing moment. For the people of Atlantis, there was nowhere left to run. Ancient accounts describe a night of unimaginable destruction. Earthquakes shattered the land while massive floods consumed everything in their path. By the time the chaos ended, the once great kingdom of Atlantis had disappeared beneath the waves. And then there was silence. The bustling harbors, towering temples, and magnificent palaces were gone. Where a powerful civilization had once stood, only the endless ocean remained. guarding its secrets beneath the depths. More than 2,000 years after Plato first told the story, one question remains unanswered. Was Atlantis a real civilization whose memory survived through the ages? Or was it simply a tale created to teach a deeper lesson about power, pride, and human nature? For centuries, historians, philosophers, and researchers have debated the meaning of Atlantis. Some believe Plato intended it as a warning about the dangers of greed and ambition. Others argue that behind the legend may lie fragments of a forgotten chapter of human history. Driven by curiosity and the hope of discovery, explorers set out to find evidence of the lost kingdom. They searched across oceans, deserts, and ancient ruins, convinced that somewhere in the world, traces of Atlantis might still survive. Among the many places investigated, the Mediterranean Sea attracted particular attention. Archaeologists uncovered ancient settlements, mysterious ruins, and evidence of catastrophic events that seemed to echo parts of Plato's remarkable account. One of the most convincing theories points to the Greek island of Santorini. Long before the island became the beautiful destination we know today, it was home to a thriving Bronze Age civilization whose fate would be shaped by disaster. Around 1600 years before the birth of Christ, Santorini experienced one of the most powerful volcanic eruptions in human history. The explosion devastated settlements, darkened the skies, and unleashed destruction across the region. The eruption triggered enormous tsunamis that swept across the Mediterranean. Coastal communities were destroyed, trade networks collapsed, and entire populations were forced to rebuild their lives. For many researchers, these events sound strikingly familiar. Could the story of Atlantis have originated from memories of this ancient catastrophe? Over generations, real events may have been transformed into legend, passing from one storyteller to another until they eventually reached Plato's pen. Yet despite centuries of investigation, no definitive proof has ever been found. No lost capital city, no royal records, no discovery capable of ending the debate. Atlantis remains suspended between history and myth. Perhaps that is why the legend continues to endure. Atlantis reminds us that even the greatest civilizations can disappear. Beneath the oceans of our world, countless secrets remain hidden from view. And somewhere, in the darkness beneath the waves, the whispers of Atlantis may still be waiting to be heard. This is Ancient Whisper, where forgotten history speaks.